Thank you, gentlemen. Now,
thank you, Larry.
Let's turn to another front-page story. It's a hot-button issue, the showdown with Iran. This is over the failed assassination plot to kill the Saudi ambassador to the United States. President Obama said all options are on the table. Let's get the very latest from Andrea Mitchell, NBC's chief foreign affairs correspondent, who joins us live from Washington, D.C. with the details. Good evening, Andrea.
Good evening, Larry. Well, today, U.S. officials were acknowledging that this plot was ham-handed and that they say there's no proof it was sanctioned by Iran's top leaders. But U.S. officials are still trying to rally the world against Iran. And today, the president said he is taking, as you point out, no options off the table. That does not mean military options. It does mean more economic pressure against Iran. The administration is so confident of this that the president was doing it himself today, laying out the evidence. He said this is a dangerous escalation, a part of a dangerous pattern of reckless behavior by the Iranian government. This also took a highly unusual step today because U.S. officials went to Iranian officials at the UN to complain. They also have been going around the world talking to top leaders, including David Cameron, who has said that this is credible evidence. The prime target, of course, was the Saudi ambassador Adel al-Jubeir, who is a veteran diplomat. He is like a son to the Saudi king, and he's been very open against Iran. I'm also told that another potential target, if this had worked, is the Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Michael Oren. And you could ask who could have concocted such a plot. Well, the FBI today told the Senate Intelligence Committee it was the Quds Force of the Revolutionary Guard, not known as bunglers, but that they were directly involved. And the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Dianne Feinstein, said she believes that to be the case, but she said there was no evidence that higher-ups, including the Ayatollah or President Ahmadinejad, were involved. Larry?
All right, thanks very much, Andrea Mitchell. We appreciate the update.
You bet.
So, what does no options taken off the table actually mean? Is it military action, sanctions, or what? My next guest calls the plot an act of war. Joining us now is the chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, Peter King, Republican from New York. Mr. King, welcome back to the show. Do you regard this crazy Iranian plot to kill the Saudi ambassador, do you regard it as an act of war?
Larry, we have to. First of all, if the plot had been carried out, we could have had hundreds of Americans killed. We would have had embassies attacked on American soil. We would have had a foreign diplomat killed on American soil. This is, there's always acts of terror. There's always, certainly with the Iranians, they've been active in Iraq and actions similar to that. But to actually be considering an attack on the American mainland of this magnitude, they really not just crossed the red line, they jumped over the red line, and this to me is an act of war. And I'm not saying that the president should be sending in the military, but certainly that should be kept out there as an option, because not for the idea of revenge or anything like that, but to let Iran know how seriously we take this, and to let other bad actors among nation states realize how seriously we take it. So I think obviously sanctions have to be seriously enforced. I think we should impose sanctions and enforce sanctions against the Iranian National Bank. If we in the European Union did that, I think we could cause that bank to collapse.
Is anybody, just on the sanction thing, I agree, let's go after the Iranian Central Bank. That would really get them where they hurt. What about this? Sanctions on the sales of gasoline made in Iran from their own crude oil. That would absolutely be a killer to them, but we've never gone there. Is it possible to organize such a thing?
I think it could be. Again, if the president shows real leadership on this, and people are concerned, I understand why, that this could destabilize the world's oil markets. But I would say, in view of what happened, certainly the Saudis and other Arab states could, I think, step in and make up for that difference, because they realize now their survival is on the line here. And so, yes, I think those are things we have to pursue. I also think we should be expelling anyone in the Iranian interest section of Washington, D.C., any of those officials should be expelled. We should also be expelling the staff from the UN in New York, because let's face it, many of those people are spies. Many of them are involved in, certainly they're allied with the Quds Force. The NYPD several years ago found guards from the Iranian consulate in New York taking very sensitive photos of the New York City subway system. So this shows we're serious, not just the usual thing of sanctions, right, which we hope will have an impact.
So let me just ask you, sounds like you're ruling out military action, okay, but the fifth.
I wouldn't rule it out. I'm saying the president shouldn't have to lead with that. He's the commander-in-chief. I certainly would not rule it out at all.
Because
no, I wouldn't.
The Fifth Fleet is in and around the Persian Gulf. I mean, what if they had some Air Force exercises and started buzzing, or some really tight naval exercises, just to send some kind of warning shot across the bow? Because Iran, I'm not sure Iran respects us. I mean, I'm not sure they even fear us anymore. Can't we just do something to pick it up?
We've done that with China when it involves Taiwan. We moved the Seventh Fleet. Absolutely. I think we should definitely do military maneuvers in that region to show how serious we are. Start moving the fleet. Absolutely. This is essential. And I agree with you. I think Iran has lost respect for us. First of all, the president, when he first came to office and was setting up some sort of an equivalency between Iran and Israel, and also in the summer of 2009, when there was such a popular movement against the Iranian thugs that run their government, and the president did nothing. The president thought somehow this was going to be reaching out to Iran and they would reciprocate. I think Iran is a classic case of a country which sees any type of reaching out the hand of friendship as being an act of weakness.
All right, Peter King, he's the chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee. We appreciate your time very much, Peter.
Thank you, Larry.
All right, next up, blowout numbers from Google.